from Man United, and here I've got Stephen, Jason, and John. How are we all, everyone?
Good, thank you. Yes.
I'm good, thanks.
Brilliant.
Great, I'm glad. So I know a lot of you people who do watch my streams, they have asked me to cover also Man United women, and I thought, yeah, why not? Let's do a preview today of the season of Manchester United women. John, what do you think of like the Manchester United women team overall?
They've done really well. So they've only been around for 3 seasons. We're just going into our 4th season now. So a lot of United fans are shocked when they realise that United women's team have only reformed back in 2018. We started off in the Championship, which is the 2nd tier. We won. We came as champions, got promoted in that 1st season, came 4th in the 2nd season, 13 points behind 3rd. And then last season we finished 4th again, only 1 point behind 3rd place. So you can see progression season on season. We had a bit of a rocky end to last season and a rocky summer because our manager left. Quite a few of our players were out of contracts who left. So it's been a bit unstable. There's been a few negative articles out there a few months ago, mainly from The Athletic, and other people jumping on it regarding poor facilities and this, that and the other. But I do think in the last 6 weeks or so, we've started to stabilise. We've brought in a few players, brought in a new manager who's a fan's favourite now already. I was fortunate enough to go to Scotland last week and watched our first game. It was a pre-season friendly, but it was the first game the fans were allowed back into grounds, and the manager came over to us. He's won us over already. So, a lot of positivity going into this season now. Look, we need to finish in the top 3 to finish in the Champions League. It's definitely an aim, and maybe a cup final as well, which would be progression on last season as well. So, lots of things to look forward to. I could talk about it all show, so I'll just let you crack on.
I completely agree with every single point you have said there. Jason, what do you think of the Manchester United women team?
For me, the Glazers has ruined them. Because Cassie Stoner, our old manager, wanted them to get new showers and new changing room in, and they turned it down. And for that, Lauren James, Kristen Press, Toby Neath, and loads of players left. Now we have to start off fresh again and just see what the season brings. But I feel it could be a dodgy one for us.
Yeah. Stephen, I know you're an Arsenal fan, but what do you think of the Man United women team?
I think they've been very, very impressive since they've been formed. Obviously, been an Arsenal fan. We're known to be dominant in women's game in the women's game. Obviously, not so much now since the money's flowed with the start of the Super League, with the Man City, Chelsea pumping money into the women's game, and fair play to it, and it deserves it. But we still remained up there and around about the top 4. Man United gave probably like a real one for our money in terms of trying to get into the Champions League last season, and the fact that they were only formed back in 2018 and they're now fighting with Chelsea, Man City, and Chelsea for the top 4 spots in the Super League is pretty darn good. Hey, like you talk about the women, you call about the Women's Super League. So why do we actually need the Super League entirely?
Yeah, I do like the Man United women team. Considering they did only form in 2018, the first season they won the championship level. You wouldn't even have ever expected it, really, in the first season. I was really devastated about Casey Stoney leaving as well. I thought she was a top manager. She brought the best out in the team, and a part of me does wish that she did stay that one more season, just see if we did get that Champions League football, because we was honestly so close. And there was like halfway through the season last season where we was like in first place, but I know there was like some who had like postponed games like Chelsea and City because of the Champions League and also because of COVID as well. But it was good how Man United women has just like gone better and better every single season. It's been so impressive, and there's some women's players who I really enjoy watching as well. A personal favourite of mine at the moment is Ella Toone. considering she's only so young and she's made such a big influence on the team, and then she's got into the Olympics as well. It's just a really good representation for Manchester United team as an overall.
Yeah, the fans love Ella too. She's one of our own. She really was. She had to leave when she was going through the academy because we didn't actually have a senior team, so she had to move to City. Then obviously when we reformed, Casey Stoney brought her back. As for Casey Stoney leaving, that was a big hit for a lot of fans. We were fortunate enough to go to the stadium on her last match. We wasn't allowed in, but we waited outside. We cheered a few songs over the fence, and when she came out, she did come over to us, said a few words, we took a photo together, and obviously that was the last we saw of her. So yeah, that was a massive loss when Casey left. You mentioned a few players that had left as well. Just to kind of clarify, I mean, Tobin Heath and Christian Press was only on a 1-year contract anyway. They only came over because the US soccer wasn't playing football at the time because of COVID. So to keep their match fitness up, they had to go to a country which was playing football. So obviously WSL, Women's Super League, was still playing. So they came over to us, was on a 1-year contract. So they was always likely to go back. Yes, we would have loved to have kept them. And there's rumours about today that Tobin Heath still hasn't got a club and she's looking at playing in Europe. So, potentially, that could still be on the cards. Tobin could come back at least, but that's probably more of a dream than anything. We've lost quite a few players. Lauren James obviously wanted to move close to home. We forget she's a teenager. She, with COVID and everything, she probably found it a bit hard. So yeah, she's gone to Chelsea now. Jane Ross, one of our strikers, coming towards the end of her career. She's moved to Rangers, who we actually saw last week when we played against them. Jess Sigsworth, our number 9, our leading goal scorer in the first season. She left and has gone to Leicester. But again, she didn't get much game time in the last couple of seasons. So there's been quite a few players who have left, but they've left for kind of not because they dislike the club. It's because it's kind of like natural progression, and we have brought players in to kind of replace them. So I do understand that, from a distance, you look like, we've lost all these strikers, this, that, and the other. But it was kind of always going to happen anyway, so it's not like the end of the world.
Yeah, I think I was more upset about Lauren James more than anything, because as soon as she did come to Manchester United, she just made such a big impact. Like, she got the first goal at Old Trafford, the first game in the first goal in the Championship for Man United women, the first goal in the Super League for Manchester United women. I really loved it. She was like an overall striker, what you just absolutely love to have. And she was only so young as well, so she was just going to improve more and more. I understand she does want to go to Chelsea, and Chelsea is such a dominating team in the Super League for the women's team, and she can learn so much from Frank Kirby, Sam Kerr as well, because both of them are absolutely quality at Chelsea, and they'd be two people, if I was a woman player, I would love to learn from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a shame when a player has to go to a rival. I completely get that. Will she get much game time there? Possibly not the first season. Maybe she's been brought in because she is young, like you say, and they can definitely build her up. Beth England won't be there forever. There's rumours about Sam Kerr not actually coming back. I think she might be going to maybe play in America. So maybe potentially that's one of the rumours that's going around. So maybe LJ will get some more game time than what we would have thought. But look, we wish at least Lauren James has gone with the fans' blessing. She never done anything wrong. We want to see her career go from strength to strength. Obviously, so long as she doesn't score against us, then that'll be absolutely fine. And yeah, she was definitely a fan's favourite. We called her an uncut diamond. She was definitely a Ballon d'Or potential winner. She's definitely got potential. But what I will say is, last season she didn't play too many games for us. She was injured, so it's okay saying that she's got potential. But as for actual now, we need strikers who can actually perform right now. Yeah. And if LJ obviously didn't get much game time, then maybe it's not the end of the world that she's left.
Yeah, 100% agree. I'll go with my first question, what I did have. Do you feel we are ready for this season coming up? Jason, do you feel like we're ready for this season?
Yeah, I reckon we'll give it a very good go, but see what happens. Got a new team. Hopefully they can gel together and challenge for the top 3. I'd love to see us get into Europe this time.
Yeah, 100%. Stephen, do you think Man United women is ready for this season?
Um, uh, with the new players you brought in, it's going to take time for them to gel, especially with a new manager with new ideas, new probably philosophy as well. So uh, I would say pushing top three is a bit of a push. Um, Knowing that you've got to wait for that to click in. It's going to take a number of games for it to click in. So um, I'd say if you're talking about challenging for top three, I don't think you're quite ready yet. But you could, I mean, top four you could quite easily secure and then try and aim for that top three slot or even higher and maybe even challenge the title the next season. I think this season is just more about establishing, getting your manager to establish what she wants to get out of that squad.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
it's fair comment. I do think we need to stabilise. There's been a lot of transfers in and out. Like I say, a new manager come in. But I think we've always got to go for the top three, or else we'll end up like a Reading or another club who are just happy to settle for fourth.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, obviously, I think that what I'm trying to say is that there's no. I'm not denying that you should not go try and aim for top three.
Yeah.
I just don't think that with the amount of stability you're going to need to install first, I don't think you're going to be able to reach it yet. But
Mhm.
like, I think the aim is still obviously try and get into the top three.
Yeah.
But if you're coming fourth this season, it's not the end of the world. And
I agree.
then you can go for next season, try and go for the top three, or even push to try and make on a title challenge after that.
There's a lot of United fans out there, you know, especially like 4 to 6 weeks ago when we didn't have a manager at the time, and there was a lot of players who we were rumoured to be getting and we haven't got, you know, who were kind of thinking we might drop to like 6th or 7th this season purely because of the instability. And you can see why, but I still think if you look at some of our players that we do currently have, we are definitely a top 4 team. You know, Everton have brought in quite a few players. Leicester's got a good reputation. I know they're newly promoted, but they're a very well run club. You've got Reading, who's always there and thereabouts. So I think, you know, I can see why some fans would be looking over the shoulder, but I do think that sometimes you just need to look back. You know, if you have a look at 15 of our players, if not more, they are very good players who deserve to be at least in the top 4. So yeah, I think top 4 would be minimum, and a good cup run. If we can get the cup final as well, I think the fans would be happy with that.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. I feel like with the Man United women, I feel like they deserve a trophy because they've worked so hard to get where they've gone from 2018 to now. And then if I looked at like the end of June, seeing Casey Stoney leave, seeing so many of our players having the contract up and leaving, I would have thought to myself, no, we're not ready for this season coming up whatsoever. I don't know what's going to go on. I don't know what manager we're having, where we're going to replace all these players. And then in these last like 3 weeks, you've seen a new manager coming in. You've seen so many players coming in as well. And then I actually think, especially looking at that Rangers game, even though it was only a friendly, and I thought we're actually playing really good football here, considering we've made so many transfers. The team really seemed to have gelled really well together. They were dominating the ball so well as well. And I feel like that's something what we really need to maintain when it comes to the Super League, because there's going to be teams that are going to be very difficult to defeat, to win against, like Man City and Chelsea. And we need to look at like the lower teams to get them most points from, like Reading, Birmingham, Leicester, now they're newly promoted as well. You need to look at them teams in particular to get them 3 points from, to make sure we do secure the minimum of top 4.
Yeah, 100%. We slipped up towards the end last season where we played Reading and lost. If we had won that game, which we should have won on paper, we would have actually like leapfrogged Arsenal and we would have finished in that top 3. But that one game did kill us off. It doesn't matter that we lost against Arsenal. If we had won that Reading game, then things would have been different. But we didn't, and that's something that we need to look at this season. You know, winning those games that we should be winning on paper. But as for the actual Rangers game and going into this new season, our new manager, he does play differently to Casey Stoney. We do keep the ball more. We are more of a possession-based side. We play out from the back, which may see a slightly different change in personnel. So we've got Mary Earps as our number 1 goalkeeper and has been for a couple of seasons, but we've recently brought in Bristol City's Bagley, and Bagley's even though she got relegated last season with Bristol, she's still very well liked and she's very well thought of, and she's great with the ball at her feet. So all of a sudden now, Mary Earps is going to be pushed in as a number one goalkeeper. So we are a bit more possession-based football team. We've brought in Belle Risa in the centre of the midfield. Fantastic international player. She's going to be playing in the central midfield, spraying the ball around a little bit. So I think the way that we're going to be playing is going to be a lot different to the way we used to play with Casey, and it's something to look forward to. I'm already excited about it, and I know a lot of the fans are as well. We just need to start getting results quickly.
Definitely. I was really impressed with Belle Risa as well, especially in this pre-season. I feel like she has really put a name for herself, and I actually feel like she is going to adapt really well into this Super League of the women's team as well.
Belle Risa's what our highlight signing at the moment. She's the biggest signing. We know it was done back in January, but for whatever reason, due to COVID, she couldn't come across back in the January transfer window. So we kind of knew it was done. But she is definitely going to be she's our biggest signing this summer. And I think what's interesting is now we've got 6 fantastic midfielders with only 3 spaces. Ella Toon, you've mentioned, as more of an attacking midfielder. She's up against someone like Lucy Staniforth, very experienced. She had a great end to the season last season. She started pre-season really well. So that's your 2 there. You've got a European Cup winner in Jackie Groningen, World Cup runner-up. She's probably the most popular player in the team. You've got Hayley Ladd, who's the best CDM in the team. You've got our captain, Katie Zellum, as a centre midfielder. And then you've got Belle Risa as well. You've got 6 players there with only 3 positions. So it's going to be very interesting to see who our new manager Skinner actually puts in there.
100%, I agree with you there. What I'll do before I go on to the next point, I'll just go through some comments. Big up to Danny. For anyone who does have me on Twitter, he made like this picture, and it was a picture of me on Ollie's body, thinking I was a manager. So whoever does follow me and has a look, it wasn't me who made that; it was him. Nathan, great work, mate. Working so hard. Thank you, Nathan, for all the support, and it's really nice to see all your lovely messages every time I do streams. Michael, big up to you as well. Thank you for joining in today. Big up as well to Rich Sport. And for anyone who hasn't already, go and subscribe to him. He does really good Man United content. I enjoy it so much, and I do go on Rich Sport sometimes, so you can catch me on there as well. Big up as well to Jordan, and for anyone who is a Liverpool fan or just wants to subscribe to Jordan, go ahead. He does really good Liverpool content, and he talks about other football teams as well, does some previews for different teams. So it's really good to see different opinions of different rival player fans. Big up to Jade. Thank you for tuning in, and everyone as well. Go and subscribe to Jade. She does content on Liverpool and PSG and Juventus. Really good content. Big up as well to Ankit. For anyone who hasn't already, go and subscribe to him. Really good Chelsea content. I enjoy watching it a lot. Excited to learn about women's football. Big up to everyone. Yep. Especially today, you'll learn a little bit more about women's football. You should definitely start watching it if you haven't already. It's going to be on Sky, isn't it now?
Yes. So
and it's been on BBC.
It used to be BBC, now Sky have took over. So you've got Sky and BBC, the main channels not hidden behind the red button. So you will be able to see it more on TV now. The first match of the
Thanks for Lauren James, yeah, because his brother's there. That's probably reason got him.
That's a good marketing stunt. That was just for Chelsea. I mean, like Reece and Lauren James there. You can't complain. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just on Sky, so you'll be able to watch the very first match of the WSL season, Friday, the 3rd of September. Man United actually opened the show, so it's Man United at home against Reading. It's on Friday night. Please watch that, because it's going to be on Sky Sports. And if anyone's interested in actually buying a ticket or actually a season ticket, you can actually get a season ticket for £39. That's 11 games.
What?
For £39.
Yeah, £39. I was actually looking at the season ticket because it was like 500 something quid for the men's football, and then the women's football was just 39 quid. I was like, wow,
Yeah, I
you could go
know.
to
I
a few
thought
games and feel benefited.
Yeah,
Let's get one. Seriously.
I remember the women's game, like when I looked at women's tickets on Arsenal.com. Tenner.
Yeah.
Tenner.
Red card
Yeah,
in the Leicester game.
Red card.
Everyone gives your updates about the Leicester game as well. I'd like to know what's going on, and I'm really not happy about this because I wanted Leicester to win.
As Ayoze Perez has been sent off.
Oh,
I
God.
don't have him in
It's
my
half time.
Big up to Static. Thank you as well for tuning in. You asked me to make it. No, I didn't ask you. You made it because you was bored in work. So stop lying, Dana. I'll get the chat up if you really want me to. Hello, Belle. Are you okay? Thank you very much as well for the support, Rich. Yes, so I will next go to the next point. We have spoke about this a little bit already. Will losing 7 players affect us from achieving a place in the top 4? What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, I think it could, because now we've brought in a load of new players, we have to gel as a team again, and it could affect our form. I think we could push top 4. I just don't know yet. We have to wait to see how we gel.
What do you think, John?
I think stability-wise, I can understand why it would affect us not achieving top 3 or top 4, but I wouldn't get too worried about the players that we've lost. As I kind of mentioned, a lot of the players either didn't start or didn't play in the last couple of seasons anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. One player that we haven't mentioned who's left is Amy Turner. She's our centre-back. Her partner lives in America, so she's obviously chose to go and live over there. That's a loss for us, but we have actually replaced her this season with a Man City defender anyway. So hopefully that's not the end of the world. But I think losing 7 players is almost kind of normal in women's football because the contracts are a lot smaller. So in the men's game, players are on 3, 4, 5-year contracts. In the women's game, we can't afford to kind of do that. So a lot of players are on like a 1 or 2 year contract, a 1 year contract with the option to extend. So a lot of players are actually out of contract at the end of every season anyway. So a lot of players do kind of move on quite easily and a lot more freely. So I wouldn't say that if we don't make top 3 or top 4, then I don't think it's because of we've lost 7 players. I just would like to think that if we don't make top 3 or top 4, it's just because the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, and City have got stronger teams with a lot more, with arguably a more settled team.
Yeah, definitely. Stephen, what do you think? Do you think losing the 7 players will stop us from achieving top 4?
Yeah, I do think it could affect. It depends how you start the season. In all, and this goes back to see if you're ready. But it depends how you start the season, because I think it's where those first games where you're settling in to the season with settling with new players, new formation, with a new manager, a new strategy. If it can go pear shaped, it could cost you that. I still think it gets full spot, but I don't think it'd be probably as easy as ride, and I don't think it'd be too much of a threat to the other top 3 teams just on this season alone. Just while it's for the manager this season, it's more like you're giving him you give the manager this season to experiment and like with the system and find their best 11 and their best formation. Then like after that second half of the season, you try and implement that and make that confirm. Then next season you push on to try and get Europe and or even more than that. So it could affect it, but I still think you'll get 4th.
Yeah. I was watching the pre-season, especially, like I say, with the Rangers game, and knowing how stable we actually did look on that game and how much possession we did have. I'm not too worried about the top four. Like I say, when you do look at the Women's Super League, I feel like our team is one of the better teams in that table. The only teams who I feel like who are ahead is obviously Chelsea, because they're far too dominant in that league, and Man City, I feel like they're quite ahead of us as well at the moment. Arsenal, knowing that they didn't really have that many points between us, they're basically roughly around where we are as well, I'd say, even though they did get a strong signing as well, Nikita Paris. That was a really good signing for Arsenal, and that could really damage other teams having Nikita Paris on their team as well. So it'd be good to see on if we actually do get into Champions League, because I would really like to see Man United, for both men and both women, to get into the Champions League. It'd be just a really nice thing to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, touching on Arsenal, I think their biggest achievement this summer is keeping hold of Vivian Miedema. So by keeping hold of her, you guarantee yourself one of the best goal scorers in Europe, let alone just England. So I think, yeah, the arrival of Nikita Paris, absolutely. She's very well known in England, very well experienced, got plenty of goals when she's been here in the past.
Well, with Arsenal, when you've got then Maidemir Dendoncker of Van der Donk, you've got also Nikita Paris now as well. And this is the great thing with Arsenal in the women's game, is that we've always had a quality side, no matter what, and we've always been fighting at the very top for a vast amount of years. I mean, obviously, like I said before the Super League came in, it was always a given that Arsenal would win the league, and it was dependent on how many trophies they'd win rather than what if they'd win. But obviously now with the more competition there is, and I like the fact that there's more competition in it.
The only league you can win.
Yeah, you don't see it as much now, and it is fighting. You're again fighting with Chelsea and Man City, who are always the big spenders, like in the men's game. But I mean, like Arsenal, they've always had a quality side, and it'd be a test for Man United to see if they can compete with us, say with Arsenal in that third spot.
It's definitely against. Sorry, I was going to say it's definitely against Arsenal, because I think Chelsea are firm favourites to win the league game. City have made some fantastic signings this summer. So they bought Bunny Shaw, who's one of the top strikers, the top striker in Jamaica, one of the top strikers in the world.
And plus, we've lost our manager as well. I mean, we've had to have a new manager in place as well. So we're kind of on the same wavelength where we need to, yeah, we've got Nikita Paris, but we need to, like, there's going to be a new manager with a new way of thinking, new ideas, a new strategy, a new formation. So again, that's going to take time as well. So it'd be interesting to see which team sort of gets off the ground running with both of their new managers.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with all your points there, 100%. With Chelsea, you do look at them, and they're so attacking, aren't they? And you just think they're such a really good team to watch. And even when we was playing, I was actually quite nervous. And even I think Emma Hayes, who was the Chelsea manager, was nervous when she was playing against us, because we was attacking just as much as they was attacking. And I haven't seen her that nervous in quite a long time, if you agree with that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Emma Hayes is a fantastic manager. I think she's done women's football proud, especially during the Euros that's just been gone. So when she's done the commentating on there, she's done really well. She's been with Chelsea for 10 years, and this is a stability that obviously Man United men's team used to have under Sir Alex. You know, what she's done is she's built a team over 10 years where now she doesn't even need to sign anybody. She's signed Lauren James this season. Didn't necessarily need her for this season, but she's so far ahead now that she's thinking long term. She was very unlucky not to win the Champions League this season. Got to the final, lost 4-0 against Barcelona. Barcelona, rightly so, best team in Europe last season. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say anything bad about Emma Hayes because I think she's a cracking manager. Obviously, once the season kicks off, I'll be bantering them all day long. But yeah, Chelsea are firm favourites and firm favourites for a reason.
I mean,
Yeah.
Chelsea's team is just ridiculous. It's insane what they have at their disposal. And also with Emma Hayes as well. So yeah, I mean, it'd be foolish to write them off as a title contender.
Mm-hmm. Jason, what do you think of Emma Hayes?
Yeah, my cousin's a Chelsea fan. He's got a season ticket for the ladies, and he talks about it every single day to me. He winds me up so much. But Emma Hayes, yeah, she's a really good manager, and the way she's putting Chelsea together, it's an amazing job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's like you said,
100%.
it's like John mentioned as well. Like you had with that with Sir Alex, we had that with Wenger.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you get stability like that, and you get a team like that, you aren't even going to ask for it's a trophy. All you're going to be asking for is trophy after trophy after trophy. So it's kind of like sometimes where we saw asked with what asked in the past is like what are like we know Chelsea are going to win something. What are they going to win? What are they going to win?
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing. So and how much will they win?
Mm-hmm. I think they're going to be concentrating more on the Champions League this season because that is the only thing what Chelsea hasn't really won. And I think Emma Hayes, she's just hungry to win that, and you could tell throughout the Champions League competition, like she was hungry every single time. She was so dominant in the first leg, she was so dominant in the second leg. I thought even Man City would have got a little bit further than what they did as well because they played quite well. When you saw that City, they won the first leg against Barcelona, I thought to myself, oh, maybe Barcelona might not be as good as you think. But then once they come on against Chelsea, they look like a completely different team. And I feel like they probably are the best team in Europe right now. They're unbeaten at the moment, aren't they, Barcelona? So fair play to them.
City is what you mean. Like, if you're focusing so much on the Champions League this season, you'd think it'd open the door for City to try and challenge them. But we're so confident about how good Chelsea are, we're not even considering it. That's what we're talking about here, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
level of dominance we're talking about.
you
Yeah.
can't forget Leon and PSG ladies as well. They're really good.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Leon was so dominant as well in the Champions League for quite a number of
Yeah,
years. And then
yeah,
I think this was like the first year last season where they didn't win the Champions League in so long, wasn't it? If I was correct.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The very strong team, and I'm sure that they'll get back to where they can be, very soon. But just touching on like Man City, we spoke a bit about Man City. Man City were a lot stronger this season as well. So they've signed the Barcelona captain, signed Rasso, Australian international. Mentioned Buddy Shaw already. So that's just three. The defence is a little bit weak, but there's still time to sign one or two more players. There's rumours of them signing Alana Kennedy, another Australian player who we would like. She's out of contract. And there's another one floating around who plays for Atletico Madrid, someone that we want as well, but who knows where she might end up. So if City just get one more centre back, that they could potentially be winning all their games, and then it could be a head-to-head against Chelsea. Whoever wins those two games could really be the fight for the title there.
Mm-hmm, definitely, it's just going to be so crucial, isn't it? Because Man City, they'll want that Super League spot, and Chelsea with them being so dominant as well. It'd be good to see on how they'll both play with different teams and then play against each other. Because when they play against each other, it'll be good to see which one is the better team out of this in the Women's Super League overall. So it'd be really good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and that's what could potentially happen. It really could. So it's really important that those clubs, as well as ourselves, that we do start winning the weaker the teams. Anyone outside of the top four, you need to start winning those teams, because it's so important that when you do play the other top three clubs, those are the games that really make decide the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's something what we need to do, starting with Reading on Friday, the 3rd of September.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, against Reading, so we are the favourites, but we lost against them last season. They're not they're a very physical team. They're not an easy team to win, but we are at home. The fans are going to be up for it, and it's going to be an amazing atmosphere that day.
You say your first fixture is easy. Look at ours. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
yeah. At least you got that one out of the way.
We've got to play the champions. I mean, it's bad enough we've been battered already once, like this season by Chelsea.
But what I would say is we played the first game. We played the first game of the season last season, so maybe you can catch them off guard. Maybe that's the only thing I can kind of think. First game of the season, hopefully they're not into full speed. Hopefully for yourselves.
Yeah. The only way we'd do that is if we raid the team bus before it turns up. We'll do what you lot did, which is try and pop the tires before it turns up, and then realise we've done the wrong bus.
I'll go to the comments now before I go to the next point as well. Evening Box, thank you as well for tuning in. Leicester is losing. One man down out there. Yeah, Rich said
Chris,
that was one.
what's that?
Box has got a question here. Did we underachieve last season by not challenging Chelsea? I reckon Box is a Man City fan, I'm presuming. So, what do you think about that, Stephen?
Yes, you should be challenging Chelsea. The amount of money you spend and you plough into the sport, to the women's game, and in your team, you should be challenging them. If he is a Man City fan, that is, he should be. They should be challenging. There's no question about it. So, yeah, for them, they're underperforming.
Man City got off to a very bad start last season.
Oh, he's a Man United fan.
Oh, you're a Man United fan, right? I was presuming you was a Man City fan by the underachieving comment. Okay, so right, we'll go like this from a Man United point of perspective. Then, did we underachieve by not challenging for Chelsea?
In that case, then I don't think so. I think it is a lot to ask of probably a newly formed team as well. You're challenging one of the best sides in Europe, with a cracking manager that's had that stability with Chelsea for 10 years. So I don't think not challenging Chelsea is not something that's underachieving. If anything, it's Arsenal that's probably underachieving, for not challenging them. We've been there, we've done it, we've won titles. We should be challenging more than probably what Man United should be doing. So, you could put us in that bracket.
What do you think, John? Do you think we underachieved last season by not challenging for Chelsea, with Chelsea, not challenging them?
I think if you spoke to any United fan at the start of the season saying that you'd finished fourth, closing the gap to Arsenal or the top three by 12 points on the previous season, I think it would be considered as a success. However, because we was top of the league for up until Christmas and the turn of the new year, then automatically you start thinking, oh, it's turned into a bad season. So I think we had a fantastic first half of the season. We probably overachieved, and then we underachieved in the second half of the season. So we kind of leveled out to where we should be. But it's definitely disappointing when you do spend a lot of time at the top and then you drop out to the top three. Now really missing the Champions League spot. I completely get that. But I think as a whole, if you finish fourth, 1 point beyond the top three in our second season in the WSL, and that's not underachieving regarding not challenging Chelsea now.
Yeah, kind of like Leicester City. We've been in the Champions League for so long, and then at the last minute we got knocked out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris, if you're watching. Jason, what do you think? Do you think we underachieved last season?
Not at all. Chelsea are too good, and I'm just watching Stephen fall asleep over there.
What?
You're falling asleep.
I was not falling asleep. What are you on about?
I've seen your eyes shut, thinking that Arsenal not being in the Champions League draw next week.
Don't know what you're on about. Don't know what you're on about, mate.
The Champions League.
Don't know what you're on about.
Is Arsenal boring you that much?
Nah. I'm used to it.
Champions
Why
League draw, so it could also won't be in it.
not? Nah, I'm used to it, man.
Personally, for me, when you do look at, I know you could say like, yeah, we're underachieved in the second half, but then we do need to also think we're still quite new into this as Man United women, considering we've only got there in 2018 and the way we built up and progressed every single season. I wouldn't exactly say we underachieved, but when you look at it as a point of just one season overall, and we was at the top of the league, and then I was like a little crazy Man United fan going, oh, we're top of the league, we're top of the league, and then you say, oh, we're fourth, never mind. But when you look at it in that way, you could say, yeah, we did underachieve, but I was still quite happy to say that we was in the top four and we wasn't that far from Champions League football at all. So I feel like we did have quite a good season for Man United women, and hopefully we'll just get better and better now.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if you also consider what we actually went through back in December, January time, we had the whole squad was had to move to Carrington to do our training. So instead of us training at LSV where we play our games and where we usually play, we had to move, and we wasn't settled at Carrington because there was no room for us there with the under 23s and the men's team. So we had a lot going on behind the scenes that no one was aware of. Us, just like Arsenal, had a load of injuries. We was down to our bare bones in that last game. So much so that we couldn't even fill all the amount of substitutions that we was allowed to do. So we had a lot going on in that second half of the season. It's not an excuse; it's just a reason why we did start to drop points, because when the whole team was fit, we was flying, we was top of the league, and I know Chelsea fans all over the world who were kind of a bit worried at that time, and they actually saw us as a threat. But unfortunately, our squad depth, it wasn't as good as Chelsea's, and that kind of showed towards the end of the season.
Michael said, pity we lost Stoner. She was doing a good job. I agree with you completely. I see that you did ask a question, Michael, but it was one of my next points, so I thought I'd just do it with my next point, what I did have. A big up as well to Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Big up as well, Match Reviewer. This is a new YouTube page, so definitely go and subscribe. He did a watch along for Leicester versus West Ham. So if you, after this stream, go over to that stream, give it a watch, give that a like and subscribe. Yeah. Okay, I'll send you the link for you, Jordan. I'll send it to you through WhatsApp. Reese said, John, good to see you, mate. A match goer and great content he does. Evening, Maisie, Stevie, and Jason. Thank you, Reese, for tuning in. Always good to see you. Okay. Box said Stephen's dreaming about Lukaku and Emma Hayes.
Yeah, wish we could batter us even more. Maybe actually knock some sense into these Arteta-in wankers. So.
Big up to Paul. Thank you as well for tuning in. Good to see you come on. Thank you as well for your lovely positive words as well, Michael. It does mean so much to have you as support. So we'll go to my next point and what was also Michael's question, which was, do you think Mark Skinner will succeed this season as Man United manager? I'll go to you first, Jason. What do you think?
I think not this season, but next season he'll give it a real go. But this season he has to get a whole new team together and make them gel. So I say top 4 for me this season.
And what do you think, Stephen?
I'm not too sure. What did he do? He did Birmingham City beforehand. So I'm not too much to know about him, to be honest. So it'd be interesting to see how he does. His record there at Birmingham City weren't too bad. So yeah, be interesting to see how he gets on. But I mean, all we can do is give him a chance to see how he gets on.
And what do you think, John?
I think it depends what you mean by succeed. If it's top 4 and a good cup run, I definitely think we can do that. Absolutely. Skinner done really well at Birmingham. I think a lot of women's football fans will really rate him from his time at Birmingham. He spent 2 years there, and then he went to USA. Obviously, it's a completely different way of playing over there. The transfers are done differently, the structure is done differently, everything is done differently over there. It didn't quite work out over there when it comes to results. But obviously, just because it didn't work out over there, I'd probably look at more of what he did in Birmingham because that's close to home. It's a WSL. So I'm more leaning towards what he did there. But what I've already seen, what he's done at United, he's brought that togetherness. He's got the players back on board. He's got the fans back on board. It's the style of play that he's playing. Within literally a month of being at the club, he's got the players reacting the way he wants them to react. So for me, I do think it'll be a success. Yes, I do. Do I think he's going to win the title in the first season? No. Do I think he could make top 3? I think he can, but I don't think it wouldn't be an underachievement if he doesn't. I agree with the rest of the guys on the panel. I think top 3 could be a stretch too far, but it's definitely an aim. But I would definitely like to see us get to a final because we haven't got to a final just yet. So we can definitely get to a cup final under Skinner. It's just whether or not we come up against Chelsea and Arsenal or Chelsea and City on the way, because winning both of those, getting to a final could be very tricky. But we have full faith in Skinner. You know, we managed to speak to him. Well, a couple of the guys managed to speak to him after the game at Rangers. He also came over to us and thanked us for coming, and he shows a lot of enthusiasm in his interviews. He's saying all the right things, and we got full faith in our manager now. We do.
Hey Jordan, how are you?
I'm good.
Oh, great. So what are you thinking about women's football? What do you think of Man United women overall?
Well, you guys have a whoa, and we also have a female team as well. Well, Man Utd women will do well. So let's see, they are more used than the guys then.
For me, with Matt Skinner, I didn't really know too much about him. I know he was in Florida for a bit and he didn't really have that good record. I seen he was in Birmingham. He looked like he had an all right record at Birmingham as well. I think that was his best career, wasn't it, at Birmingham City? So it's good to see, because compared to Birmingham City and Florida, Man United is a next step up, isn't it? Because it's Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. So it's good for him to get this opportunity whilst he can, because it's a good manager role to snatch up Manchester United women team. It's good to see on how he does perform under pressure, how he will go in terms of achieving the top 4. I'd personally like Man United to perhaps maybe challenge for like the FA Cup. The FA Cup would be quite good for the Man United women to achieve, because I feel like that will probably be one of the easier cups to win with us.
Yeah, FA Cup or the Continental Cup is definitely a possibility. It's like it all depends on the running that we get. If we have to play a couple of top teams to get to the final, then to win both of them could be awkward. But it's definitely something that we're going for. Continental Cup's slightly different. It's like a league format at the start and then a bit of a knockout stage. So some people like that cup, some people don't. I think it's a bit interesting because it's a league format at the start. I definitely think we should be going for a cup. We should be, especially a final. We should definitely get to a final. But yeah, I think Skinner will do. I think he'll do okay. It might take him a couple of seasons to get everyone playing the way he wants to play and to bring in a couple of players that maybe he wants. But he's got time. We'll give him time, definitely.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I completely agree with your point. 100%. It'd be good to see, especially this is the start of the season is where we do really need to kick it off. Because when it comes to the middle of the season and at the end of the season, that is going to be where our most crucial parts are. So we need to put a good performance in at the very beginning to show this is Man United and we're not here to be messed around in this Women's Super League. We've got Matt Skinner, we've got some new signings. That's not going to stop us from getting top 3, top 4, from competing in trophies.
the start's really important. We got Reading, then we got Leicester away, and then I think we got Chelsea the next game or the game after that. So you are right. I think we need to get maximum points early doors, because as soon as that Chelsea game comes, we'll be up for it. No doubt about that. But you can never go to Chelsea expecting to win. So we do need that quick start. Don't forget, we got a quick start last season. Halfway through the season, we was top. We just couldn't sustain it. The main thing is now is have we got the squad to actually maintain a good start if we do get one.
Yeah. Jason, do you think we're going to win any trophies this season? If we're going to win any, which one do you think we might win?
Yeah, I would love for us to push for one of the cups and win something for once. But as the league go, we definitely have to push for the top 3 honours in Europe next season. That's the main challenge.
Yeah, I agree there completely. I'll go through the last bit of the comments and then I'll go to my last point. Nathan said, winning a cup might be the best chance of silverware more than the league. I completely agree there. I feel like at this moment in time, the league is a bit out of our reach because there's too many good teams ahead. Because if Chelsea had a poor season, there's still Man City there and they're still such a strong squad, and I feel like they're still ahead of us. When do we play Man City? I think that's quite early in the season, isn't it? Is it our second, third game or something, John?
I can't remember. I don't think it's the second game. I think it's a little bit further on than that, but it is quite. I think it's quite early on. But it's
yeah, I thought it was quite early on.
We've played Man City so many times in the different cups and the different.
You play them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th game in.
Yeah, so it's quite early, isn't it?
Yeah, you played Chelsea. Is your 3rd game.
Oh dear.
Popular.
Yeah, that'll be a bit more of a challenge, wouldn't it? To see.
We play you. When do we play you? We play you on the 21st of November.
Box said, what happened to Liverpool women team? They're in the Championship at the moment. I think they finished. What did they finish? Was it the top 3 they finished, I think, last season? But I feel like with Liverpool, they don't really invest in their women's team that much.
They don't.
They're more into the youth and they're more into the first team as well for the men. So they don't really invest in their women's team whatsoever. So it's a bit of a shame because I would actually like to see that rivalry as well, like you see in Derby days for the Women's Super League, like you'd see for Liverpool, for them to come in and have that bit of a more of a rivalry as well. But you don't really see that rivalry, do you, in women's football?
Another thing, I would like to see the Women's Super League be put on FIFA football games. The career mode of FIFA of the Women's Super League. That'd be interesting.
Maybe it will do in time. I mean, it's getting there slowly.
It's been spoken about, isn't
it? Skinner will have an interesting job on his hands. It's whether he takes the club forward, but all the best to him. Yeah, I wish him all the best as well. It'd be really good to see on what kind of a manager he really is like, because like you say, Manchester United is a whole different kettle of fish now, isn't it? So it's good to see what he will be like as Manchester United manager. You can say, yeah, he's done well in pre-season, but this is now the real deal, 3rd of September. Yeah, a trophy win will be a bonus, but anything further up the league is good, especially have it after looking to strengthen accordingly. Box, will Man United make any big loan signings like we did last year with Heath and Press? It wasn't a loan signing, I believe it was just a 1-year contract with a 1-year option to extend, but they didn't choose to extend.
I want us to get Alex Morgan or Raponi.
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to get these superstars to join us now. I think last year was a one-off. We saw a lot of American players come over for the COVID reasons. But like it has been mentioned literally about 3 hours ago that Tobin Heath hasn't got a club. She wants to stay in Europe. She wants to be in England. So that narrows it down to probably 4 or 5 teams. So potentially Tobin Heath, maybe for one more season, potentially. That was coming out to the Equaliser at about 6 o'clock, which is a very well-respected tabloid over in the US. They're the ones that actually announced the fact Heath and Press coming over this time last year. So it could happen. I don't think we'll get any big, you use the word big loan signings. I think Heath could be the only potential one now. because she's still out of the club. But I think pretty much, I don't think there'll be any more now. You might get one. Hopefully we get one because we need another striker or a winger, definitely.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Toby Neath back at Man United, but like you say, you can always dream. I really liked Toby Neath when she was at Man United. It was a shame she did get that injury halfway through the season. It was halfway through the season, and it was quite a long injury as well.
Yeah.
So it was quite a shame, but then that got to see a lot more of a press as well, because I feel like once Toby Neath was injured, I thought press really stood out in the United team as well.
Yeah, just touching on that.
The American ladies teams are brilliant, aren't they?
They've got some fantastic players, haven't they? I think Kristen Press did very well towards the end of the season. We didn't really see probably the best of her.
And to be fair, they didn't perform well in the Olympics at all. They were a shadow of themselves. I think the women.
Won it Canada that won it. Canada.
Yeah, I think.
Canada won the Olympics.
Yeah, my cousin told me because she's Canadian.
I think the American women's team is. I think it's starting to get onto the decline. I think they need a rebound of their squad. Is that needs to go transition. So you might see them drop off a bit. Might open the door for England. You never know.
You never know. I'll go to my last point, which is what is the target for this season? So, like, what is the target for Man United overall? What are you expecting from this Man United team, and what do you think Man United should aim for? I'll go to you first, John.
The target for me still needs to be Champions League spots or top 3 and silverware, one of the cups. That needs to be the target. I don't think we could go into any season just accepting not to finish. Just to accept finishing outside the top 3, because that's just not the kind of club that we want to be. As we touched on at the start of the show, we know that's going to be very tough, and there's a lot of United fans who predict it maybe 6th or 7th, and then boost back, next season, the season after. But for me, the target would have to be silverware, one of the cups, and top 3. If we get to a final and top 4, that would still be okay. But we can't lower our expectations any more than that.
Yeah, definitely. Stephen, what do you think the target is for Man United women this season?
I'd say I think 4th is the sensible target. I'd say 4th because I think, like I said, as we said before, we mentioned before, you need that time to integrate your new players and the manager and everything. So get to a final of a cup might be good. But yeah, top 3 I think is a bit of a push. You can aim for it, and if you have a good start to the season, never know. But yeah, I don't see any more than just top. Yeah, just full spot with a good cup run might be a sensible target.
What do you think, Jason? What do you think is Man United women target for this season?
Our target's to get into Europe. That's our biggest challenge. But for me, I'd like to see us go for a cup more than anything.
Yeah. It'd be good to see what Matt's going to really prioritise, if that's going to be the top 3, or is that going to be going into the cup and getting far in the cup? It'd be good to see which one where he will prioritise more. I know both is equally as important as each other, but Man United is about winning trophies, and we want to win that trophy. But on the other hand, Man United is about being in the Champions League as well, and it'd be good for the Man United women to actually get into Europe and have that little bit of experience in playing teams like PSG, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus. It'd be good to see them play in them kind of teams to see how Man United actually do go in terms of Champions League football.
Also, the money that it'll bring in as well. We get an extra £300,000 just to get into the Champions League, which is, just to put that into perspective for anyone who doesn't know, finances in women's football. Our captain got sold for £30,000 after our first season, Alex Greenwood. So to get £300,000, you can imagine what you can probably do with that money. You can probably get 2 or 3 good quality players for that, which is what we need. So if we do make that top 3, obviously brings in that kind of revenue as well. And also it's more desirable for players who maybe want to come to United if they can play in Europe as well. So that top three is massive, but I do agree it is a massive challenge, but it's definitely something that we should be going for.
Yeah, it is something that we do need to go for, especially now we finished at 4th place. I feel like the women itself feel like I want to get into Europe too, knowing there was just literally just so close like this, and it was just a bit of bad luck, wasn't it, at the end of the day, having them draws, having them defeats where we shouldn't really have done that. But especially now this season, they can take that on board, take what they could have improved on that game, and then work on it this season to be a much stronger team. And Matt Skinner as well, having a whole different kind of tactics to Casey Stoner. It'd be interesting to see if this kind of tactics will work better for the Manchester United women in getting the top 3 position. I keep thinking top 4 for Champions League because of them, but it's top 3 always for women, isn't it? So it'd be good to have top 4 though, wouldn't it, for women? It'd be just a lot less hassle thinking, oh, top 3. We'll go to the comments and then we will wrap up. Reese said a trophy win would be a bonus, but anything further up the league is good, especially. Oh, I've already put that comment on, didn't I? Yeah, I put that comment on as well. Munzi has said big up to the panel, and he has said thank you, John, for coming on. Yeah, thank you, John, for coming on. You have been a really good guest. I have honestly enjoyed having you on and hearing your views about Man United women. I haven't really spoken to anyone about Man United women properly before, so it's good to actually hear somebody else's views about the women's football too. And I'm sure that everyone who has tuned in today, as if they don't know much about the Man United women, has learnt a lot more since you have come on.
Thank you. And just on that, we do go live on our channel 6 days a week. So Monday to Saturday, we go live 7 to 8 o'clock, just talking purely about Man United women's team. So if you do want to learn a bit more about our women's team, it's all for United WFC. We have just been shortlisted and we're one of the finalists for the FCA awards as well. So, we are quite established now. We've been going since September last year. So because we go live so often, we get journalists on, we get football agents on, we get coaches on. We will be getting players on soon as well. So if you do genuinely want to learn a bit about our women's team while you're watching them on Sky TV, just come across, because you don't need to go anywhere else, because it covers absolutely everything.
Yeah, definitely tune in and go and subscribe to John's channel. It'd be really good to watch, and I will definitely go and subscribe because I would like to see more about your content as well for Man United
What's
women.
the name of that channel again?
All for United WFC.
Okay.
Reese said, whoever Man United brings in just need to include the touch of quality we need. When you do look at pre-season, even though it is pre-season, there has been a good quality. Like you say, Bo Reese was one who has stood out for me, and I'm sure there will be some more players getting on later on to the season. Just see who will be the standout for Man United.
Kirsty Hansen as well. So Kirsty Hansen scored in every game so far in the pre-season. She's had at least 2 assists. She's like our right winger. She's been with the club from day one. She's one of our originals. She's still learning, still growing in confidence, but she's definitely going to be one to watch out for this season as well.
Reece said, US women team is having a right turn down in form. Losing to 13-year-olds is embarrassing. I remember in the World Cup and the women American won, and the way there was responding about winning against the UK, it just wasn't really that nice, was it? So I kind of, in a way, felt a little bit glad that they did get out of the Olympics. Reese has said top 4 and a cup run. And he has also said John is class with his work. Him and Natalie Ben too. Great work always. Yeah, so that's just me for now. Before we go though, we will also shout out everyone's channels. Jason, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter under JasonG2701.
And John, where can we find you?
Yeah, Twitter, John Foster, MUFC. John spelled JON, Foster, MUFC. And as I mentioned earlier, All for United WFC.
And Stephen, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on SVD TV, Arsenal football and F1 content, all to raise money for Children's Liver Disease Foundation. Got the membership scheme, which is from $1.99 a month, so with great perks a lot with it as well. And it's all to, and again, that's a monthly donation to the charity as well. So, yeah, if you want to hear me moan about Arsenal all day, then that's the main channel to go to.
I'd just like to say thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you Jason, John and Stephen for coming on as a panel. Great panel tonight. I've enjoyed all of you coming on. Thank you on everyone who's tuned in on the live stream, said the comments, said your opinions. It's been really good to hear your opinions. Please go like and subscribe to my channel and also share my channel out. I'm still only quite new. First stream was only a week ago, so I'm learning here every single time I do it. So yeah, go and subscribe. My next channel my next show it is going to be on Friday.
I didn't know you
Next
started a
channel.
new one.
Well, signing up plenty. But my next stream it's going to be on Friday, 8:30 again. It's going to be a preview for Man United versus Wolves. As you know what I did say yesterday, I'm away for the weekend, so I thought I'd do a preview instead of a match reaction. And then I'll be back again after that on the Tuesday, the 31st, for an actual watch along. My first watch along on this channel for the deadline day. So I'll cover from 10 p.m. up until midnight when the window closes. So everyone can tune in for both of them. It'll be really good to have you all on, everyone's views. But until Friday, I will see you all soon. Bye.